So kind of keep your eye out on that, and at one of our next stops, I'll stop and I'll just talk about some of the plants along the way. Oh, cinder, that's from an eruption that... After that time period, just shortly after. Ah, okay. We live up by the volcano, or people are moving to the area.
Yeah.
And then if you turn your water dark brown, dark black, it works better as a laxative. So you want to be close to home if you try the Mormon too. But you know, they probably have a lot of medicinal uses for a lot of the plants, even if they haven't been, you know, backed up scientifically today. A lot of the plants were probably used for many different purposes. You'll see a lot of salt.
Obsidian. Others are more accurately called fine-grained volcanics.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Interesting.
Oh man.
Wow, that is beautiful. And you call that an arrowhead? Is that what you call it? Or just a projectile?
arrowhead.
Arrowhead.
What other plant comes from the genus of Rus?
Poison ivy.
Poison ivy, yeah, and poison oak, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and this comes from the same plant family as poison ivy. And it actually makes the wood quite flexible. And so this was a plant that they would probably intentionally cut, and then the stems kind of grow back very straight. And the wood is more flexible, so it was common wood for making baskets and things of that nature. And I suppose if you had a lot of allergies, you might be allergic to something like this. But you don't get a rash like you do from poison ivy.
What's the common name?
Skunk bush is one of the common names. And the chemicals in the wood and leaves actually give it kind of a pungent smell. My favorite parts is we did a lot of botany courses. It just really forces you to look a lot closer at things and see the detail in some of the plants. And so I really enjoy talking about this. Of course, I know a lot of you are from the area, and so you're familiar with yucca. But really, yucca is an awesome plant. It's one of my favorites out here because they use every part of the plant. Anything that you can think of. The stalk that grows up in the springtime, the flowers, if you pick them early enough, you can eat the flowers.
Yes, they're very good.
You could steam them a little bit like spinach, or you can eat them raw, either way. Or if you let them mature into a fruit, they produce a fruit that, depending on the species, is a small, odd-shaped pickle, about 2 to 3 inches long. And if you pick them early enough before the seeds get woody, you can eat the whole fruit. You can dice it up, saute it in butter. They probably didn't have butter back then, right? But they're probably sauteing things in animal fats and things of that nature. I found it tastes very much like a bland summer squash. Pretty decent. If you're too far along, the seeds get really woody and the pod splits open, and beyond, at that point, it's beyond being eaten. So you have to kind of pick it early. But and then the roots were used. Now there actually are chemicals in the root that don't make it edible to humans, but they would have dug it up and soaked it in water, ground it up, and used it for making something similar to soap. So they would have used that for washing. And then probably the most heavily used part of the plant is actually the leaves themselves. Like if you look at these little leaves, you can see little hairs kind of hanging out. It's a very fibrous plant. And you could gather the leaves. In fact, you notice that there are some dead leaves here. It probably would have been easier to harvest the dead leaves. And then soak them in water. Soak them in water for 2-3 days. And that loosens up the epidermis of the leaf enough where you can actually scrape off the epidermis with your thumbnail or with a sharp edge of a rock. And you end up with a bunch of fiber. This is just from one small piece of yucca leaf. I'll pass it around if you want to take a closer look. And this fiber was used for all kinds of different purposes. I'm sure some of you can think. This little one's buckwheat.
Yeah,
You get a fall bloom on it.
buckwheat's everywhere.
Yeah.
Buckwheat. pretty Apache plume. So pretty. I love it.